this team. What do you mean? The Cards dropped 3 out of 4 to the Giants. Matt Holliday and Kyle McClellan on the DL. They wore weird hats on Monday. All those beards creep me out, and you know how much I'm afraid of the dark. Is that all? This team's stressing me out. I can't take this anymore. I'm out of here. Hey, wait a minute. Dude, you turned out the lights. Cards dropped 3 out of 4 to the defending world champion San Francisco Giants. This was a painful one, since they're missing both Buster Posey and Pablo Sandoval. Monday, Memorial Day, they lose 7-3. This wasn't one of Kyle McClellan's best efforts. In fact, it might have been his worst since he was put in the rotation. He gives up a leadoff solo shot to Cody Ross in the second to start the scoring. The second run was at the hands of their pitcher, Madison Bumgarner, in the third. He hits a ground rule double to left center field, is butted over to third, and scores on a single by Miguel Tejada for the 2-0 lead. No big deal, right? Cards do come back in the bottom of the third, with back-to-back doubles by Ryan Theriot and Alan Craig. Albert Pujols would get a single after that to tie things up. He even steals third base, but Matt Holliday grounds out to end the inning. Like I said, no big deal, right? Well, the top of the fourth, Ross walks and advances to third on a double by Aaron Rowand. He would score on the go-ahead run on a single by Brandon Crawford. Bumgarner walks to load the bases. Really? And with that, the fatal blow comes next, as Andres Torres goes yard to right field for his first grand slam ever. McClellan would leave the game after the inning, giving up all 7 runs on 7 hits, striking out 2. And even worse, he landed awkwardly in the first inning after a pitch, straining his hip flexor and landing him on the 15-day disabled list. It's actually a good move, since he'll get time to heal, and he's approaching his innings total from last year. You don't want to burn him out just yet. As for Bumgarner, other than scoring a couple runs for the cause, he goes 7 innings, giving up only the 2 runs on 6 hits, striking out 5 for the win. The Cards would get another run in the 8th as Pujols goes yard, a solo shot, his 9th of the year, but it was too little too late. While Matt Holliday went 1 for 4 with a single in the 6th, placing him back in the lineup was just a tad bit too soon, as he too ends up on the 15-day DL for a left quadricep strain. More on the replacements later. But Tuesday night, the Cards win 4-3. Chris Carpenter tries once again to get his 2nd win of the year, but once again ends up with a no decision. He goes 5 innings, giving up 2 runs on 7 hits, but he does strike out 8. The runs he gave up, Brandon Crawford gets on with the fielder's choice in the 2nd, and scores on a ground up by pitcher Ryan Vogelsong. These Giant starters just know how to get to us, don't they? But Carp helped his cause by getting a base hit in the 3rd. Theriot gets in the 2nd, and John Jay singles him home to tie it up. Carp's other run that he gave up was in the 5th, when Freddie Sanchez singled to center. Balls misplayed by Rasmus, and Andres Torres scores. Later on, Cody Ross would single and Nate Scherholtz off of Trevor Miller to give him the insurance run and the 3-1 lead. Nothing good ever comes when Miller's out there to pitch. But the Cards do come back. In the bottom of the 8th, Jay and Pujols have back-to-back doubles off Sergio Romo, and we're back to within 1. Javier Lopez comes in, and after getting Lance Berkman to ground out, Alan Craig doubles the score Pujols, and we're tied. Skip Schumacher gets the game-winning single shortly after that. But the most shocking thing of all was the pitcher who was on record when this happened. Ryan Franklin, now sporting a full beard, pitched in the top of the 8th, got a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts. Believe it or not, he didn't dare go out there in the 9th to screw it up. Fernando Salas comes in and slams the door for his 10th save of the year, while Franklin gets his first win since, I can't remember how long ago. Actually, it was July 30th of last year, when he won 6 games, and he was supposed to be our closer. Is this that infamous pivotal point for Ryan Franklin's season? Now, that's just crazy talk. Since the Cards do lose Wednesday night 7-5 in 11 innings. They would jump out to a 3-0 lead early on as Terrio singles in Daniel Descalso in the third, while Skip Schumacher singles in Rasmus, and Yadier Molina scores on a wild pitch by Tim Lincecum in the fourth inning. The Cardinals' lead would evaporate in the sixth as Ross doubles in Scherholz, who scores on a sac fly by Eli Whiteside. Then, Torres scores Brandon Crawford. That would be the end of Jake Westbrook's night. He did decent in his no decision, giving up the 3 runs on 9 hits, striking out 4 through 5 2/3 innings. But leave it to Miguel Batista to give up the lead on an Aubrey Huff solo homer in the 7th. Huff would be doing that a lot this week. But in the bottom of the inning, the Freak gives up a triple to 33 Double D Descalso. Then, Alan Craig goes yard off the former Cy Young winner to put the Cards back on top 5-4. Eduardo Sanchez gets through the 8th, and Fernando Salas comes in to attempt to get his 11th save of the year. Except he walks Huff, with 2 out, who gets replaced by Emmanuel Burris, who steals second, and Scherholz singles him in for the tie game. Ryan Franklin comes in this one in the 10th, gets yet another 1-2-3 inning, vying for his 2nd win in as many nights. Except Tyler Green is the only one who gets on with a throwing error and 2 out in the bottom of the inning. Rasmus would ground out right after that off Sergio Romo, inning over. And I've said this many times, you leave Franklin out there beyond 1 inning, you put your life into your own hands. With 2 out and Freddie Sanchez on second, Scherholz comes through again, singling Sanchez for the game winner. Then he scores on the single by Crawford, and you know what that means. Brian Wilson, that guy with the real freakish beard, was pretty much lights out. Literally. The lights actually went out after a Descalso single with 2 out in the bottom of the 11th. Once they restored power at Busch Stadium, Alan Craig grounds out, and the game was over. You know, does anyone really care what's in Brian Wilson's beard? Really? That sounds like more of a personal hygiene problem, if there was anything in there. And for the finale, the Cards lose again 12-7. The only thing we can get out of this one is 25-cent fountain drinks at On the Run today. You know, 6 is a serious number. Rasmus comes up huge, despite going 2 for 5. He did manage a 2-run triple in the 3rd, and a grand slam in the 7th for his 6 RBIs. Normally, that would be enough to win the game, right? Sadly, he was trumped by Aubrey Huff, who hit 3 home runs and an RBI single in the 6th, for a grand total of 6 RBIs. Tonight also marked the big league debuts of pitcher Lance Lynn and Michael Clato, the hard thrower who was acquired in the Brendan Ryan trade. Lynn goes 5 1/3 innings, giving up 5 runs on 4 hits, including Huff's first homer, a 2-run shot in the 3rd, and the other 3 were in the 6th, which started as their starter, Jonathan Sanchez, hits a ground rule double on a ball that should have been caught. Only if Alan Craig and Colby Rasmus wouldn't have just stared at each other out there in the outfield. Torres singles him home. Then Freddie Sanchez gets the sac grounder to score him. And while Lynn was credited for the 5th run, the RBI hit by Huff actually came off of Trevor Miller. Excellent job as always. Clato only went 2 innings, also gave up 5 runs on just 3 hits. He starts out giving out a couple blocks to Eli Whiteside and Pat Burrell in the 7th. Torres would get an RBI double, then follow that with back-to-back homers by Freddie Sanchez, a 3-run blast, and Huff, his 2nd of the night. Huff's 3rd homer came in the 9th off Brian Talent, and there was no way we were coming back from this one. Despite their major slippage, they remain in first place with a 33-25 record, 2 games ahead of the Brewers. Now, what would be a great way to get the Cardinals back on track? No, not wearing those holiday hats. Looks similar to this cheap one I've got on here. But, to be honest, spending $40 on something that will be worn only 3 times ever just doesn't do it for me. Well, how about hosting the Cubs for 3 games? That's right, the 2nd installment of the Cards-Cubs rivalry, this time at Busch, should be a fun weekend. And as for my question of the day, with both Holliday and McClellan on the DL, are you worried? Let me know what you guys think. Submit your answers, comments, questions, responses, or anything else in the comment box below. Subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Twitter. While a lot of people wearing blue will be flocking to our great city from the north, just remember one thing. Giving your Cubby buddies that expected ribbing about their team's suckage is cool. In fact, it's encouraged. Try to keep it somewhat in good taste. They've suffered a long time. But don't act like Dodgers or Reds fans. We're better than that. Have a great weekend. Talk to you guys Monday, and go Cards!